rồi mới vô được. Phải ra mút ngoài kia xa lắm mới đi vô. Đây, dạ xe bus nó đưa. Chút nữa ra mình cũng ra xe bus. Đây nè, những món đồ kỷ niệm.
Your driver's license and your credit card in here. So
mới xuống xe bus thì
rồi chịu khó chờ xong
Bởi vậy.
tại vì cũng đâu về được, chờ đậu xe tuốt ngoài đó rồi.
Ngồi kế cái máy em, cái máy bên phải ngồi ghế kế cái máy.
Đúng rồi, em cũng tới để cái gì lên cái ghế.
Bây giờ đi vô để đi. Để chỗ đi.
Đây nè anh chị. Cũng đông lắm rồi. Đó. Để Việt Nam Veterans Day.
We're gonna have the mayor and then Jimbo, and so you can
Đông rồi nha anh chị. Đây 2 cái someone sit here. Để đồ lên đây đi. Chị ngồi đây nè. Ngồi đây đi chị. Em để cái bóp đó nha, em đi á, nhớ coi giùm. 15 phút nữa. 15 phút nữa. Tại gì chị? Trời nó xa dễ sợ tưởng gần. Xa dễ sợ tưởng gần. Nó chạy quá trời lâu. Thôi 15 phút nữa lận để em chạy ra một tí nè. Đi quay vòng vòng chút. Anh chị mình tới rồi. Hello Tăng Hải. Yeah. Giờ nó chưa có. Đó. Đây là mới vừa khánh thành hồi năm ngoái, cho nên năm nay mới tổ chức. Còn 10 phút nữa bắt đầu rồi á, không vô đó hả? Dạ. Mưa rồi thầy, còn có 10 phút nữa không vô đó hả? Đi vô đó thầy. Đó, vô đó có ghế ngồi đó đó. Dạ, vô đó làm lễ. Đẹp nha, nè, nha. Đi vô, đi vô. Hello. Ở đây nè. Ở đây này.
How you doing, man? Yeah, this is the only one that's taken.
Oh, okay.
Hi, how are you? Kathy. How are you? Gary.
Hello, how are you? I'm
Ngoài mới quay được. Chúc con ra. Thầy ngồi đây đi.
Ngoài ngồi này.
I sent a note to say we were going to do it yesterday.
Nghĩa đâu, kêu ngồi đây nè. Ở đây nè. Nghĩa vô ngồi nè, em ngồi ở dưới đó. Ngồi lại đó đi.
Yes. Yes, I understand. Yes, I totally agree. I mean, there's a lot of stuff.
Normally, I wear a tiger. Rain don't bother me. I'm 18 months in Vietnam. This is nothing. I can't stand it. I
Oh,
was in Korea. I got here. I got my fingers got frostbite. I can't stand the cold.
Đó, nắng lên rồi.
yeah. I lived in Massachusetts for like a year. It was too cold. I live in Cape Town.
Chị cũng để ra giữa nè.
Không giữa đường đi đi vô.
Frank, is there a Miss Dawn Williams here? Is there a Miss Dawn Williams in attendance
One, I can't afford
by
it.
chance? Yep, right.
I was offered a chance to go to work for an oil company and go
You have
back.
someone come to see you.
Going back, you want to go? I said, I'll let it win this time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have 7 minutes until we get started.
That was when I was younger.
For those of you that don't know who I am, I know I've already stated this once before. My name is Cassie Gibson. I am the lead veteran service officer at the Harris County Precinct 2. We have the B. Ramsey Veterans Center over in Channelview.
Surrounded by children.
And we are one of the few people that put this wonderful event on today. And we're going to get started here shortly, so if you would, find your seats.
I found one back here. Good.
Glad you found one, Ken. Congratulations.
I will probably later make you get busy.
if there is a seat between you, can we do it a good military style and squeeze in? And if you are a Vietnam veteran, I would like you to have a good view, so make sure you try to sit towards the front and stop hiding in the back. This event is for you today and honoring you for your service. So fill in from the front, and if there's any spaces in between you, go ahead and fill those in too. Okay?
Đợi ai nữa?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're
Lúc xong á, nói mấy chú đừng có về nha, để cho con Việt Nam mình cũng nhấn.
West Texas. I got you.
Nhắn cho muốn là Việt Nam mình lên làm video để phúc cho Việt Nam chọn đây Mỹ tổ chức.
Làm gì có chuyện đó.
Bởi vì mình có liên lạc với Mỹ, mình tổ chức với họ thì mặt mai.
Phải cái chủ tịch cộng đồng người ta nói chuyện này kia chứ người ta đâu có biết khe mà người ta làm chung hết.
Bởi vậy sao mà có chủ tịch cộng đồng cũng thấy ở đây nữa. Phải thì chứ năm nay đầu tiên dạ.
Lên quay các chú đi, nó là răng tỉ hả? Chú bạc đỗ hôm qua cho nó chuyện chú. Ra lên quay các chú ngồi kia kìa. Có phỏng vấn các chú cho biết.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would please take your seats. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go ahead and get this party started now that the Coast Guard has shown up. Can I get an applause for the Coast Guard since they decided to show up for once? All right. For those of you that don't know, I'm Cassie Gibson, U.S. Army veteran and the Veteran Service Officer for Harris County Precinct 2. And I would like to introduce my dear friend, Mr. Woodbury.
Good afternoon. Today's guest because a month ago, Ben, I received a call from Ben for a recommendation for this ceremony. Normally we have this ceremony at City Hall. I thought about it, and the first thing that came to my mind, there's no other place in the city of Houston that we should have this event. And I'm very proud to be here among y'all. On behalf of the great city of Houston and Mayor Office of Veteran Affairs, welcome. Buddy. I've been known Buddy for quite a while. And I asked him for his bio. because I didn't know too much about him. I know him, but I don't know him. And once I looked at the bio, I said, God almighty, no. General Buddy Grant, a native of Houston and graduate of Texas A&M for architecture. He retired U.S. Army Combat Cavalry Armorer and Ordnance Officer. He commanded at every level of cavalry platoon leader, regiment, brigade, and served in Desert Storm. Also Homeland Security. He trained his soldiers from overseas, deployment, and support operations in Iraq and Afghanistan. Post-Army retirement, Buddy had worked in corporation government, nonprofit, and volunteer leadership positions. His focus has been on development of all people, the veterans, military, and their family, of particular concern to him. He has received numerous federal, state, and military community awards, which includes the Bronze Service Medal, the Defense Military Service Medal, the Texas Distinguished Service Medal, the Texas Humanitarian Service Ribbon, and hosts of others. Buddy and Judah have been married for 42 years, and both are Texas A&M grads. They have 3 kids, Jennifer, Williams, and Kathleen. Williams is a Army Reserve officer in the Army. Now, without further ado, my friend, your friend, everybody's friend, General.
Well, Robert, you did fine, except you're going to get me in trouble. I've been married 42 years, not 32. If I flop off 10 of those years, she'll let me know it. Before we get started with the next phases, we need to do a couple of thank yous. First of all, as you look out upon this monument, one of our major contributors that made this all happen was the Baroness Candy Cane Horn, sitting here. And then particularly, just for today, because I'll talk about the Vietnam Combat Veterans a little bit, association a little later, but you're under a tent with chairs. In possible rain, we've had a couple of good fat drops. So we sent out a request for funds. And said anything that was raised next year would go towards next year. Well, we certainly have enough left over for next year and then some more going forward. Some of the larger groups that have contributed, DFW District 4, West Point Society, and CASA retired Vietnam veteran Randy Pace, the Harris County Veterans Department, Dave Lewis, the Vietnam veteran from the 173rd Airborne Division and Senior Vice President of Southern Group, Ben Thompson, Houston Military Affairs Committee, Vietnam veteran, Gene Tubins, Liza Garza, the President of the Association of the United States Army, Houston Chapter, Susan Bordas, who is a founder of the Houston Veteran Mental Health Task Force, currently on the board of VAST, helping veterans come out of jail and move forward. Bill Roach, President of Wings Over Houston. Both Susan Thompson and Clyde Bryan of Highlights Electrical from the West Houston Chamber of Commerce salute the Veterans Luncheon. Kevin Barber, an Army vet and Commissioner for the Texas Veterans Commission. And Mr. Tony Sampler and Don Gutierrez. Don, Vietnam veteran, a member of Military Officers Association of America, and Tony Sampler with the American Services HVAC. Let's all give them a hand for this excellent service. At this time, just a couple other folks I wanted to make sure, and I know I'm going to miss a lot of them, but Dave Lewis, Harris County Veteran Service Officer, Department Head. Commissioner Kevin Barker, yes, the PBC. This is kind of touchy. I just want to, all those members of the Vietnam community, particularly those that were boat lifters, who gone through these lines. I know you're here. Members of the Vietnam community, Vietnamese military. I know you're here in your uniforms. Get your folks raising up, stand up. These folks fought side by side with our American soldiers. And of course, will all Vietnam veterans in the audience rise if you can. All right, color guard, post the colors. Please be seated. Oh, I'm sorry. Please stand. Don't let me mess this up. At this time, we will have the national anthem sung by Senior Master Sergeant Thomas Harris, United States Air Force veteran.
Active duty, but retiring in 125 days. Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
What a wonderful voice. I can't wait for her to be retired and around here so we can use her. Mr. Alan Perkins, Vietnam veteran, Air Force, would you please come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
My fellow veterans, present arms.
At this time, we will be bringing up Chaplain Gregory McCrimmon for the invitation, U.S. Navy, working with the Department of Veterans Affairs.
You may be seated. Eternal and gracious God, as we observe this 61st anniversary of the Vietnam War, we reflect with solemn reverence upon the valor of a generation that served with honor. We pay tribute to the more than 3 million servicemen and women who left their families to serve bravely a world away from everything they knew and everyone they loved. From E. James to Khe Sanh, from Hue to Saigon and countless villages in between. They pushed through jungles and rice paddies, heat and monsoon, fighting heroically to protect the ideals we hold dear as Americans. Over more than a decade of combat, over air, land, and sea, these proud Americans upheld the highest tradition of our armed forces. As a grateful nation, we honor more than 58,000 patriots, their name etched in black garnet, who sacrificed all they had and all they would ever know. We draw inspiration from heroes who suffered unspeakably as prisoners of war, yet who returned home with their heads held high. Help us, O God, to keep faith with those who were wounded and still carry the scars of war, seen and unseen. With more than 1,600 of our service members still among the missing. Pray us, O God, as a nation, to do everything in our power to bring these patriots back home. As in the hand written on the wall in the book of Daniel, help us, O God, in the reflection of the wall that is inscribed with the names of the fallen, to see in that wall the military family members and veterans who carry a pain that may never fade. May they find peace in your bosom and love, knowing their loved ones endured not only in medals, but in our memories, but in the heart of all Americans who are forever grateful for their service, valor, and sacrifice. In recognition of this chapter in our nation's history, let us never forget what these brave men and women have sacrificed. Let us renew our sacred commitment to those who answer our country's call in Vietnam and those who await their safe return. In your gracious and eternal name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chairman. Well, I want to say thank you again for the VFW Color Guard and District 4, Post 8790, our singers, pledge, and support chaplain. Thank you so much. At this time, is the Mayor of Houston on site? Nope. I don't have a support for him. Single out for you. I always used to tell that to my boss when he called me up and said, "Where are you, Captain Grantham?" I said, "I'm in ground." I want to introduce, go ahead and move to our keynote speaker. That's what we'll General Worley, Major General, was commissioned to the United States Air Force Captain in May of 1978 with a master's degree in industrial psychology from St. Mary's University in San Antonio, a many military schools, such as the Army War College and the National Security Corps, Space, and another college. In the Air Force, he served as Director of Operations for the GPS, Water, Local Positioning System, everyone can really looking lost out there in the desert, much like most. during the operations, Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and then moved on to the U.S. Space Command staff working wartime employment issues for satellite systems. He held numerous leadership positions such as commanding the Fort Missile Squadron, the Fort Space Marine Squadron, District Operations Group, the Space Wing. Then it goes on. When you think about it, this man had his finger in buttons in military space operations in space. Space surveillance, missile flights, and satellite navigation. He was lucky to have this job as one of those days. He retired from the U.S. Air Force in the Great War in 11, where his last posting was Executive Chief of Staff, Strategic Plan, Program, Headquarters of Air Force in D.C. So Robert E. Worley II joined the VA team in 2012 and was appointed the executive director for the Houston Regional Office on November 11, 2018. In this capacity, he provides executive level oversight for the delivery of compensation, veterans readiness and employment, and home guarantee benefits to approximately 9,000 veterans in the Southern Texas region, serving veterans in 90 counties, Southern Texas, the Republic of Mexico, Central South America, and the Caribbean. And very impressively, he's got a large workforce, including approximately 50% of health. His military decorations included the Distinguished Service Medal and the Legion of Merit, U.S. First Cluster, and civilian awards included the Distinguished Presidential Rank Award in 2007. General Order. How to work. I can't do two things at once, so speaking and holding the microphone is nothing better. Well, good afternoon, and thank you for that kind introduction, buddy. Completely humbled and honored to be with you all today for this important service. I look forward to seeing the mayor when he arrives here as well. Very special day when we recognize as well as Texas Veterans Commission. My sincere thanks and acknowledgement to Ben Gutierrez, Commander of the Vietnam Combat Veterans Association, for his envisioning of this monument and his deep commitment to seeing it through. For all those who supported it, to honor veterans and remember those custodians who gave their lives in service to our nation in Vietnam. To all the Vietnam veterans here in attendance today, today is about honoring you and recognizing your selfless service. Regrettably, you did not come home from that war to a warm welcome of a grateful nation. Much has been said, much could be said about the reception our Vietnam combat veterans received coming back from the war. While acknowledging this very contentious time in our nation's history, I want to also acknowledge that in the decades after the war, many national initiatives have been undertaken to bring the proper attention, honor, and gratitude to Vietnam veterans and their families and survivors of those killed in action. Initiatives, as we all know, like the building and dedication of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C., dedicated in November of 1982. A monument that honors by name, just as this monument does, those who sacrificed all. Additionally, the Vietnam War 50th year commemoration is has been underway since its launch in 2012 and continues until 2025. The purpose of this extended commemoration is for our nation to thank and honor Vietnam veterans and their families for their service and sacrifice over the entire 13-year time span, representing the time span of the actual war. Since its inception, the commemoration has fittingly and publicly thanked more than 3 million Vietnam veterans in over 21,000 ceremonies. And now today we gather to observe National Vietnam War Veterans Day, celebrated on this day just since 2017 with the signing of the Vietnam War Veterans Recognition Act. So today, most appropriate, Americans unite to thank and honor Vietnam veterans and their families, commemorating that day in 1973 when the last U.S. combat forces departed Vietnam. And importantly for us here in the great state of Texas, the great city of Houston, we gather to honor and recognize the 544 Houstonians whose names are etched in the granite structures we see before us. Each one of those names represents a story, a family, a life that makes it part of the fabric of our nation. Each name represents the courage and commitment reflected by the men and women in uniform throughout the history of our nation. And each name must be remembered and honored and reflected upon. Now, I know I look old, but I did not serve in Vietnam. Having joined the Air Force in 1978, just a few years past the end of combat operations in Vietnam. But the war took its toll on me and my family, as it did to well over 58,000 families of those whose names are etched in the Vietnam Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C. I ask you to allow me a few minutes to share my story as the young son of a fighter pilot who did serve in Vietnam and made the ultimate sacrifice. My father joined the Army Air Corps in 1940, later to become the Air Force in 1947. He joined at the age of 20 years old. He graduated from pilot training at Brooksfield, Texas in May of 1941 and became a fighter pilot. He flew 120 missions, combat missions, in World War II, in the North African, Sicily, Italian campaigns, flying P-40s and P-47 aircraft. On his very first mission in North Africa, flying close air support, he was shot down. He managed to get the plane on the ground, but he had to evade enemy forces as he tried to return through the desert to his unit on foot. At one point, having to bury himself in the sand and breathe through a tube to avoid capture. Amusingly, or maybe not so amusingly, when he got back to his unit, he was surprised to find that his fellow pilots, his Valga buddies, thinking he had been killed, had divvied up his belongings. I'm told he didn't think that was very funny. Fast forward over the next 25 years of his career or so, his love of flying never abated. He even helped lead the establishment of the Air Force flying demonstration team known as the Thunderbirds. He rose to the rank of Major General. He was serving as the Director of Command, Control, and Communications at Langley Air Force Base, Virginia, at Tactical Air Command Headquarters. He was sent to Vietnam from that position to serve as the Vice Commander of the 20th Air Force. I'm sorry, Vice Commander of the 7th Air Force. 7th Air Force was responsible for orchestrating the air war against North Vietnam. My father was serving a one-year tour, like many soldiers, airmen, Marines, and so forth in Vietnam, starting in the summer of 1967. Despite his seniority as a Major General, he flew combat missions by choice because he loved flying and he was a leader by example. On July 23rd of 1968, 1 month before completion of his tour,
in our planned PCS to Hawaii. He and his co-pilot were flying a photo reconnaissance mission in an RF-4 Phantom jet aircraft taking pictures of enemy positions across the border into North Vietnam. On the second pass, the aircraft was hit by ground anti-aircraft fire. The procedure under such a situation was to get feet wet. That is, to head east of the coast, turn south in an attempt to reach friendly territory in case there was a need to bail out, and to get safely back to his originating base, which was Tonsanute Air Base. They were able to get feet wet. He turned south along the coastline. The aircraft was on fire from the camera booth was underneath the cockpit, full of film, highly flammable, all the way streaming back across most of the fuselage. They were quickly losing hydraulic pressure. The aircraft was becoming unflyable. It was getting hotter and hotter in the cockpit, and it became clear they would not be able to get the crippled aircraft back to base. Now you have to know the mentality of a fighter pilot. There might be some in the audience. You don't ever lose the airplane. You don't ever admit defeat in that kind of scenario. But if they didn't, they weren't going to have any chance of surviving. So they decided to eject. In the RF-4, the ejection sequence can be set to automatic ejection, initiated by either pilot, in which both pilots will be ejected in sequence, the backseater going first, or it can be set to manual, requiring each pilot to eject themselves. On this mission, the setting was manual. A decision made by my father as the aircraft commander. I think the words were, "Nobody's going to eject me out of an airplane." Per the procedure, the co-pilot in the backseat ejected first and had a good shoot. Thankfully, he was rescued relatively quickly and suffered only minor injuries from the ejection. The front cockpit where my father was seated as aircraft commander was instantaneously overwhelmed by fire. My father was unable to eject. Ultimately, the aircraft crashed into the beach with my father still in it. He was killed. He was one of two Air Force Major Generals, KIA, in that war. And his name is etched on panel 51 west of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. I was 12 years old at the time of his death. My four older sisters ranged in ages from 16 to 24. Life got pretty hard for a while for us, obviously. But ultimately, it was my father's passion to serve, and the example he set of commitment to duty, honor, country, that motivated me to follow in his steps, in his footsteps, and join the Air Force, where I was blessed to serve for 33 years. This commitment to duty, honor, and country is known by Vietnam veterans and all veterans of our country. So that's my story. One small story, one person. By telling it, I hope to recognize and honor the stories of the 544 fallen warriors whose names are on this monument behind me, and their loved ones, whose lives were changed forever by the Vietnam War. And let us never forget that Vietnam veterans, and indeed all veterans, are men and women who answered our nation's call, who themselves and their families made so many sacrifices to preserve our freedom and our American way of life. I'd like to make one more observation. I came into the Air Force, as I mentioned, in 1978 after Vietnam. And for a very large period of time during my early career, we were not in any wars or large conflicts. A person could join the military at that time without expectation of being sent overseas, placed in imminent danger from an ongoing shooting war. That's not to diminish those who raised their right hand during that period of time. But the fact of the matter is, you come into the service at that time and not be deployed anywhere right away. Of course, that all changed in late 1990 with Operation Desert Shield and Desert Storm, and many follow-on operations, sustainment operations after that, and then the terrorist attack of 9/11, Operations Enduring Freedom, Iraqi Freedom, all the way up to our exit from Afghanistan in 2021. We have been at war for decades, paid a tremendous price. Now I ask you to consider something else that I find quite remarkable. This past January marked the 50th anniversary of the all-volunteer force. Now, the all-volunteer force wasn't in effect in Vietnam. I know that. After that time it was, for decades. And so for the last bit of war at one level or another, the young men and women of this nation have courageously stepped up and volunteered to answer the nation's call. And they didn't do it in an environment where they weren't going to be deployed. They joined knowing with near 100% certainty that they would be deployed into harm's way very soon after joining the military. Good example close to home. My son is a United States Marine. He finished Marine boot camp in March of 2011, and he was deployed to Afghanistan for 7 months in April of 2012. I don't know how many of you are parents of military members who have deployed, but there's nothing that prepares a parent to send their child off to war. Didn't sleep for 7 months. Those are the sacrifices that are made by military families. So I don't know about you, but when I think about those who have stepped up during times of war, it gives me a sense of hope for the future, character, and strength of our nation. To know that our young men and women will step up, just like our Vietnam veterans did back then, and answer our nation's call. Now, as a senior leader in VA, and that's my current job, director of the Houston Regional Office, speaking to an audience full of veterans, I would be absolutely derelict in my duty. I didn't mention, albeit briefly, the implementation of a historic honoring our promise to address comprehensive toxics act signed into law on August 10th, 2022, President. For too long, veterans and their survivors couldn't get the toxic exposure-related benefits and health care they deserved. Those days are over. VA has expanded health care and benefits for millions of veterans, 1,000 of them with a grant rate of 81%, which represents $350 million in retroactive payments to our veterans. We've still got a ways to go. Secretary McDonough is deeply committed to veterans. He's deeply committed to transparency. So he directed the launch of the PACT Act Performance Dashboard, where the general public has access to this to see the key performance metrics we measure ourselves by in the VA in implementing this important law. We encourage you to file a claim if you think you might be eligible. And I want to make sure that everyone knows if you file before August of 2023, August 10th, your benefits will be backdated to August 10th of 2022. So that's the paid public service announcement right there. As I close my remarks, let me return. As I close, let me just return to the reason we're here. To recognize our Vietnam War veterans and say now, on behalf of a grateful nation, we thank you, we honor you, we welcome you home, and we wish you Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you, General, for those very good. In the military, one of the worst things that can happen to a unit when maneuvering is to come upon an obstacle and sit there. Really bad things can happen. Enemy artillery and direct fire. Even worse is a missed opportunity for success elsewhere. That can happen to people too. Accepting a situation and not progressing. That did not happen to this one. A lawyer, technical representative, heard the use of mayor. Mayor Turner was born about 54 acres, number of age across the hill. He was raised in a two-bedroom home with 8 brothers and sisters. And his dad died from cancer. In 1973, he succeeded as president and graduated as a valedictorian from high school. Then a BA degree from the University of Houston and Harvard Law School. He worked for a prestigious firm and then with his partner started his own. In 1988, he won the Texas House of Representatives seat, 139. Now as Houston mayor, he has faced budget deficits, chronic homelessness, Hurricane Harvey, Winter Storm Uri, COVID-19 global pandemic, and more. And personally, he faced his own cancer and radiation treatments while remaining the leader of our country. The successful military units, when faced with an obstacle, bypass it hastily or deliberately breach it, but they never sit and they never wait or give up on their mission and move forward. Lead with this miracle.
Thank you so very, very much, and it's an honor to be here. I do come here standing on the shoulders of 3 brothers who served in the military, 2 in the Army and 1 in the Air Force. So I'm in the second hand, and because of their service, I'm able to serve in this capacity. So, the General, early, let me thank you for your comments. Let me thank you for your service, but let me also thank you very much for the service of your dad. And what a powerful story, and I'm glad I was here to be able to hear what you said about your father. Please give it up again to General Robert Ford. Thank you. Look, I'm not going to take a lot of time. I am going to present this proclamation. This is a very special day. We were here last year, but this is Vietnam War Veterans Appreciation Day. And quite frankly, that's every day, every day. When people sacrifice, when they give their all, even those who are still missing, we don't forget any single one of them. So this is a special day. And in this city, and in this county, we appreciate all of our veterans. We are probably the second city with the largest number of veterans. And I would like to think, because people know that in this area we appreciate every single one who served, sacrificed, and who gave. And so let me do this. Let me bring up the proclamation. I'm going to ask all the city council members who are here with me to come forward to join me in the presentation of this proclamation. General William, let me ask you to come and present it to you. I'm going to ask Max and the councilmen to hold it. Got that. I'm just a strong believer that a city will be blessed when it recognizes and gives appreciation to those who serve. And that's what we want to do today. In fact, Director Dembo, why don't you come join us? Dr. Jones, Mayor's Office of Veteran Affairs, why don't you come join us as well? Whereas through the history of the city, state, and nation, countless courageous individuals have bravely answered the call to patriotic duty, and whereas Vietnam veterans endured unspeakable hardships and endangered their lives fighting for our American values and in the pursuit of democracy, and whereas the Vietnam War lasted for 19 years and 180 days, making it one of the longest military conflicts in United States history, the United States became involved in the Vietnam War after the arrival of American military personnel in South Vietnam in the 1950s and ended with the fall of Saigon on April 30th, 1975. And whereas as the war continued, American involvement increased to an astounding number. Over 3.4 million troops were deployed 60,000 killed in action, 350 of whom were Houstonians. Over 150,000 were wounded, and today an estimated 2,000 are still unaccounted for. And whereas we cannot measure the depth of gratitude we owe to those brave men and women who served, were wounded, or died in the battle in defense of the values we hold precious. And whereas Vietnam Veterans Appreciation Day presents the opportunity for the people of Houston to honor and thank our Vietnam veterans for their service to our country. Therefore, I, Sylvester Turner, Mayor of the City of Houston, hereby proudly proclaim this day, March 29, 2023, as Vietnam Veterans Appreciation Day in the City of Houston. Thank you all so much for what you have done for the city of Houston, Harris County, the state of Texas, and the United States of America.
I feel very blessed today that we have such wonderful council members over here. Knox, Peck, and Alcorn. Okay. Chief Knox. But my VFW post is in Peck, and of course the other two y'all are large, I get to claim y'all all the time. At this time, I would like to have Mr. Jason Fuller, representing Senator Ted Cruz, to please come to the podium.
So we've got, just real quick, I'm Jason Fuller with Senator Ted Cruz. We've got Eric Goodwine with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. We've got Grayson Hilburn with Congressman Leslie Hunt. We've got Enrique Garcia with Congressman Garcia, Liz Burnett with Congressman Dan Crenshaw, and Spencer Gutierrez with Congressman Lizzie Fletcher. So we believe in Team Texas when it comes to all things, but certainly nothing more important than supporting our veterans and our military. So I have a brief letter from Senator Ted Cruz. Dear friends, today I'm honored to join the City of Houston and Mayor Sylvester Turner and Harris County Commissioner Adrian Garcia in recognizing National Vietnam War Veterans Day, a day which commemorates the 50th anniversary of the departure of the last American troops from Vietnam. It is my privilege to pay tribute to the extraordinary Vietnam-era veterans of Harris County and Houston and their surviving spouses. Each of you fought to defend our country against those who would do us harm. In an age when many wished to silence the voice of freedom, you stood ready to ensure its continuing strength. Because of your efforts, current and future generations can enjoy the freedoms upon which our great nation was founded. Your leadership and service is a reminder of the ongoing promise our veterans keep with America long after their time in uniform ends. You and your loved ones deserve nothing less than to have a Congress that works each and every day to ensure we maintain our commitment to all service members, veterans, and their families. It is a privilege to recognize your service and represent you in the United States Senate. You have my utmost respect. Thank you for all you have done for our freedom. May God bless you and your family, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. With deep gratitude, Senator Ted Cruz. Thank you.
Just wanted to say on behalf of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, I'm so delighted to be here to represent her from the 18th Congressional District of Texas. I'm her Deputy Director and Senior Advisor, and she wanted me to just convey to Vietnam veterans, thank you for your service to this country and your commitment to the fallen. And also just parenthetically wanted to say that I'm honored to stand here before you. Good to see our mayor here. to let you know that I am a U.S. Army veteran myself. I served the 43rd Engineers Battalion, Combat Heavy, MOS 76 Yankee 1 Papa. For you, those of you that don't know what that means, I was a unit armor and I was a paratrooper. And so I'm just honored to be here, and it's good to see my colleague Liz Burnett, who also served in the United States Army as well. Good to see you. But I just wanted to say to all of you, the Congresswoman is so disappointed. She's a strong advocate for veterans, for those who served in the military. One of the things that she also says is that you have distinguished yourself, you have set yourself apart. And so we just thank you for all that you've done, and all of you who served this country. And to the mayor and to the commissioner, thank you for your presence and your kind words to the veterans. We appreciate you. Jason, thank you for coming. And I just want to say to Brigadier General, my good friend, thank you wherever he went. Where did he go? Thank you. And remember my name, because it's Eric Goodwine, you my friend. And so I just wanted to tell you thank you for your service to this country. And the Congresswoman says to all of you that thank you again for what you have done to protect our freedoms. Thank you as we stand, as the mayor stands, as we stand on the shoulders of all of you. And I'm so proud to be here, so honored to be here as a United States Army veteran. And to my deceased mom, who is laid to rest at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and my dad, who is in Atlanta, Georgia, for his service to the United States Air Force. But to all of you, God bless you. God bless these United States of America. Thank you. And also, I was asked to, General Woody, I was asked to present you with, if you could come real quick, I just want to present you with a congressional certificate of recognition on behalf of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee and the members, constituents of the 18th Congressional District. I won't read it in entirety, but I will say that we take great pride in recognizing you, Robert Morgan, the Second General, on the occasion of the Vietnam Veterans Day ceremony and the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War and heroes who served our great country. We thank you as we honor those who served in the Vietnam War to protect our American freedom. Indeed, your efforts are most deserving of the respect, the admiration of the United States Congress. On behalf of Sheila Jackson Lee, member of Congress, this day, March 29, 2023. Thank you, Mr. Ward.
No, Eric, I don't say things like this, but it's Jason's fault. I chided Jason when he came up. I said, who's coming up after you? So, and Eric, you know, we both have each other on speed. At this time, I'd like to bring up Commissioner Kevin Barber of the Texas Veterans Commission. He's one of those guys that you never wanted to see on a Friday or Saturday night. He's an Army MP. So he's going to read give us an address from Governor Abbott, a proclamation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, buddy. Excuse me, all that clean air in Austin is got my allergies today, but it truly is an honor to be here and being known for people that I admire every day, and on behalf of the governor, myself, and the Texas Veterans Commission, welcome home. Nothing on a piece of paper. I can really do justice to your service, to your honor that you're doing every day in your country. So this is just a small thank you, small token. It's a long proclamation, a lot of important things. I'm going to grab the highlights, and again, in the aftermath of the Second World War, our nation was embroiled in a global ideological conflict that determined the destiny of all mankind. During the Cold War, the great powers of the world aligned themselves with either the democratic West or the communist East. The former was and is built upon an ennobling worldview that embraced liberty, justice, and truth. The latter adopted a brutally repressive philosophy that gave rise to totalitarianism and crushed the common man beneath the enormous weight of the nation state. From time immemorial, the defense of liberty has come at a tremendous human cost, and with the annals of American history, few chapters illustrate this notion as clearly or as poignantly as the Vietnam War. The passage of time affords us the luxury of hindsight, and for decades, countless public figures have questioned our involvement in the conflict and criticized the execution of our objectives. We know, of course, that our leaders will not be on reproach. Consequently, free speech is a cornerstone of American society. The satisfaction of the war was often directed not toward elected leaders, but toward the brave men in uniform who valiantly defended the values for which our nation stands. The Vietnam War brought with it sweeping transformation both on the world stage and on the home front. Regime change, the end of military conscription, and the ratification of the 26th Amendment. A turning point in our history, there will be no doubt that the Vietnam War profoundly shaped the trajectory of the American experience. 2023 marks the 50th anniversary of the 1973 Paris Peace Accords, which secured peace with honor and brought the war to its conclusion. The Vietnam War looms large in our collective consciousness during this anniversary year and every year. It prompts sober reflection on the war, its noble aims, and most importantly, the extraordinary valor of our soldiers showed in the most harrowing of circumstances. Each year, a day is set aside to express heartfelt gratitude to our Vietnam era veterans and to remember the many lives taken too soon. The duty befalls us, the living, to preserve their memory and to honor their legacy. And I urge all Texans to observe this occasion with all due solemnity. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, do hereby proclaim March 29, 2023 to be the Vietnam War Veterans Day in Texas, and urge the appropriate recognition whereof. And on behalf of the Governor, I just want to thank you again, and what I like to say is every day is Veterans Day in the great state of Texas. Thank you.
And I'll be introducing Ben, who received that in just a moment. At this time, I have the honor of introducing Daniel Uribe. He is representing Harris County Precinct 2, and like Mayor Turner, he is a product of Houston Independent School District. He got a bachelor's degree from Cornell and a master's from the University of St. Thomas. Daniel is a workforce development professional with extensive experience working in the nonprofit sector as administrator and direct social service provider. He has been working as a program manager, workforce development planning at Harris County Precinct 2 Commissioner for 2 years, and recently began work with the Veterans Program also. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, everyone. Good afternoon. As you said, my name is Daniel Uribe. I am the Director of Workforce Development and Veteran Services here at Precinct 2. It is an honor to welcome you all today to this event at Precinct 2 Veterans Memorial Park, and that is being held in collaboration with the Veterans of Foreign War District 4, the City of Houston, and the Vietnam Combat Veterans Association. Thank you all for allowing us to honor you and your families, and above all for your service and your sacrifice to our country. This occasion is very special to us at Precinct 2 because we welcome opportunities to stop and thank our people. We strive to honor you every day through the services that you provide to our veterans. Our team is second to none. Just in the past year, the Precinct 2 Veteran Service Office served more than 1,100 veterans. Can we get an applause for that? I want to thank Lawrence Harmon, Cassie Gibbon, John Cage, Michael Montelongo, and our Assistant Director, Ronald Rodriguez, the many volunteers, the other community members dedicated to helping and serving our veterans community. Can we please give a round of applause to these dedicated services? In the past year, the Precinct 2 Veteran Service Office has also expanded its reach by working with AmeriCorps. We have 4 AmeriCorps members join us last September and will stay with us through the spring. They will help to serve more veterans and their families. We're also collaborating with great organizations like Endeavor, Home in Houston, the Tech Veterans Commission, and the Vietnam Combat Vet Association, just to name a few. Throughout my career, I have worked alongside people who either were serving, served, or had a loved one in the military. So, because of these experiences, I have always treated veterans with the utmost respect and helped them to the best of my ability. Commissioner Garcia's goal is that the Precinct 2 Veteran Service Office is a place where our heroes feel welcome, appreciated, and cared for. Thank you again for being here and for allowing us to serve you. It is a privilege to do this type of work, to serve those who willingly put it all on the line for us, for our families, and for our country. Once again, thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. You did Commissioner Garcia proud. At this time, I get the opportunity to introduce Mr. Ben Gutierrez. He is the inspiration and the drive behind this movement. It has been his goal for over a decade to see this happen. That has only come to a final fruition this past November. Been working now with him for a couple of years, of course. I can't tell you the Spider-Man that I have worked with. Particularly of his cavalry. And his cavalry officer is speaking only spoken his needs now. We do that. Anyway, here's this wonderful poem on the side of the album, and Ben's going to read that.
Before I read the poem, I would like to thank you to my group of guys. We're not very many, but the one McCord, Bobby Schlitzberger, David Ramos, Dennis. Stand up, guys. But anyway, one for these guys, especially Bobby, his work has been done. He's trying to keep it up until he's done. Stay when we leave and die, that is for the truth. So don't you only we try. So I'll do our will to protect you. She wants you to we're a simple soldier. Doing what we do or just simple soldiers. Yeah. We would die for you. We would die for you. Thank you.
If I can, would I see a raise of hands of all the Vietnam veterans here? I'm going to switch this around just a little. We're going to switch the guard with fire salute, and so we all please rise. So at this time, the benefit card for all the Vietnam veterans who will come forward and receive a family to pass them out. Harris County and the city will be doing a full ceremony. Thank you all. Please take some time later on the morning.
No, well, I don't like the sound. Those are all right. Don't like the sound.
Ok, anh chị đã xong cái buổi lễ rồi. Ok, giờ là 1 giờ rồi nha.
You're gonna get them in a thick one.
Y'all be careful.
Yes, sir. The gentleman's gonna go first.
Chị Như, chị kêu tập chút và người Việt Nam chỉ phỏng vấn chút xíu đài Việt TV. Đừng ra ngoài này nè, ra ngoài này nè. Thầy nói, chú nói.
Thầy đâu nói,
Chú nói.
Con không nói đâu. Mấy ông đại diện nói tôi già rồi tôi đúng cho ông nói.
Let me grab my perfume.
Thank you.
We've been dogging.
That's one of the reporters.
Reporter. Thank you.
Can I take a picture with you, please?
How are you?
Sorry. 3, 2, 1. No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have one of our staffers that deal with
Dạ có. Ông thị trưởng à? Thầy vô chào ông đi. Thị trưởng của Hiếu.
Nguyên nhóm Việt Nam mình vô xin chụp hình.
Đúng rồi đó. Đúng rồi.
Bắt bạn đứng xếp lên, bắt bạn. Bắt đứng xếp qua đây, ba kế bên.
Yeah, I got him right
Rồi, xong rồi.
Just text it to me because I'm putting all of this. Okay. All right. So text this to me. My wife is over. Really? This is the other gentleman. Can y'all hand this to the other camera guy?
Quay được camera. Dạ có.
Yeah. I just thought the market price looked good. Yeah.
Gentlemen here that wants to talk to you about a program that they're a part of that might be good for you.
Oh, okay. Okay. We got hold of it.
Quay được nhiều chưa?
Dạ, chú ra đây để mà chị Như chị phỏng vấn người Việt Nam mình hả? Ở đây nè chú. Ra ngoài này. Khoan về hả chú bạn?
Đi hết rồi.
Bác bác với bác ông tổng hội hải quân khoan về nha. Chờ để con phỏng vấn cái gia đình Mỹ này xong con phỏng vấn Việt Nam mình nha. Là mấy bác ngồi ghế chờ con xíu. Về là con giận á.
Dạ đi ra ngoài này nè. Ngồi chờ hay ra ngoài kia? Đi ra ngoài kia. Đi ra đây chụp hình nè, ra đây. Có xe quân đội nữa. Nghĩa. Đây nè. Dạ. Chú nè. Cái ba con có khách nè. Dạ. Khách ở dưới. Nghĩa.
Sơn. Chú Sơn cảnh sát.
Cảnh sát á. Dạ. Với lại anh Hứa còn đây thôi. Em của Hùng Hứa. Đặt tên.
Hùng. Rồi về cũng được rồi.
Dạ. Chụp tấm hình đây không? Đứng vô đi, bấm vô chụp. Dạ. Nè, đứng ngay đây nè, đứng ngay đây đi. Chụp ở đây nè, đứng vô chú, đứng vô chung luôn chú. Chờ nha, con set up 10 second vô đi chụp chung luôn, vô đi chụp chung luôn, vô. Nhìn máy này nè, máy này nè. Rồi, đẹp nha. Việt Động Quân đi qua bển đứng không? Đứng ngay xe rip không? Qua bển đứng ngay xe rip tắm đi. Can I in one picture? Thầy đứng yên đó đi thầy. Rồi con đứng vô chạy vô đó. One more, one more. One more, one more. Yeah. Thank you. Đẹp.
When you get done
Can
playing
I?
today?
Dạ. Dạ chờ con chút nữa con.
Are you with the military from Vietnam?
I'm the second, you know,
Anh nên chụp em tấm mình.
I was stationed down in
This my day.
Afghanistan. I was stationed south in the Mekong, in the Mekong Delta. You ever hear of a town called Vinh Long? It's by 1968 to 69. I got there.
I'm 75.
I got there just after the Tet Offensive.
Yeah, my dad, maybe same here, my dad.
He was there during the Tet Offensive. It was a great country. Nice to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Really? Somebody ever?
You good?
Like, here! Sally! You won't float. Just like, you like that with her truck.
Này đâu rồi? Chờ chị Như đang quay phim á.
Hồi nãy sắp xếp hồi nãy vừa hết cho mới chạy vậy.
Hey man, how you doing? Good to see you.
Không muốn chụp một mình một tấm hình cái chiếc xe. Đấy. Em tự cái bấm chụp được. Dạ. Em bấm check second cái là chụp tự chụp. Em tự chụp được. Dạ. Có không? Ồ, gửi qua cho em nha. Chờ chị Như, tại chở Như về nữa mà. Như đang quay á. da nữa.
Lên đứng đi súng rồi.
Đứng lên cây súng à? Ổng đang ngồi cho nên mình đâu đứng lên đó.
Không cho lên.
Của ổng mà. Ổng sợ hư xe ổng sao? Xin ổng ngồi bên ổng, mình lái mới được. Dạ. Can I sit over there? Take the one picture, sir. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, you can stay like that.
Wow. 1, 2, 3. They put a pretty good.
Không biết em mà. Tới đây hoài. Tới đây 2 lần rồi cũng có. Mấy chú nói hồi nãy chứ giờ này
Chị đứng bên này nè, chị đứng bên này nè.
Thầy.
Thầy ngồi đó luôn đi thầy. Chị về chị ghi ra mấy cái tên chị phỏng nhắn nha rồi vô đi chị đi. Ông nói ông ngồi trển đâu, cứ ngồi trển.
The outside looking in like, damn, that was good. You go inside, you're like. I never heard it, but I looked. Exactly. There's feathers everywhere.
Bữa nay có ai của em?
Có thầy á.
Ông này còn.
Cái này có thầy.
Rồi tiếng chối khó thêm.
Yes. And I was like, it's like the bird does with everything. With everything. It's like here, so when they come take pictures.
Đâu đi ra để giặt thịt cơ. Wow, thầy lại mà. Nấu cơ. Dạ, bún đi cái nào. Tự nhiên khỏi chiếc xe nếp như vậy. Không cần khỏi chiếc xe nếp. Rồi, không mời bác chỉ bác đưa bác đưa.
Bác dùng đi. Ở đâu cậu chở? Đi trước cái đi 2 năm sau rồi bác là City Hall Thảo. Có Thảo. Cháu trai.
Qua đây Đức nè, chị muốn phục sức một người giống như Việt Nam mình đấy. Người nói là nói chung lại hết thì chị quay.
Không, bây giờ như phỏng vấn hai người bên tổng hội hải quân, rồi tỷ với mấy chú này là còn riêng các này nữa. Rồi giờ phải bắt đây. Rồi ba người bên hải quân rồi mà thầy với tỷ nó cái
Coi chừng đổ á, đi coi chừng quay lại á.
bác chỉ có trả lời giùm con cái câu hỏi là năm đó là cái nhà này thì trong lòng mấy bác để cho bác nói có gì nói hay tôi cầm thôi.
Even better. We've got a leader of Sea Scouts, and one of our leaders has a World War I. Sorry, World War II. He's got a World War II. We didn't have to. No, he's got a World War II car that he. Solid tires. You don't want to ride on. That would be that would be like riding on a harbor. Yeah, he had it in a museum in New Mexico for a while. First time. When he pulled it off, driving over, I said to buddy,
Hey, it's my only bad habit. I didn't quit.
This is really nice.
I've got to get closer pictures of the walls. I've just got to do. Thank you, sir.
And I like how they, I mean, since they had everything ready, it was like less than 90 days. And they were like, we're going to be done by November 10th. And I was like, what, are you kidding me? And they're like, well, the stones are already done.
And I guess that's when you say your phone had died. Yeah, when they were doing the groundbreaking, the little shovels and they got them out of my store.
Okay. So what store do you use? Okay.
My truck's over there.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it works well. It works. The camouflage works really well. How long have you been on that?
30 years.
Okay. Take me when you have an event over here. We go come.
Gotcha. All right.
Your cat was well, that's why the medical doctor told me it was a Euro
Dạ con phỏng vấn với bên bị động quân.
Fly again after
Giờ chú đại diện đó. Thầy thầy cho chị này biết cái tên luôn để chị biết liệu.
I've got that goes to VA.
Không thì em chỉ nói là
DAV had my stuff.
đây là những các chú các bác trong biệt động quân cũng tới tham dự. Sau này là chia sẻ của chú xưng tên là thầy xưng tên con. Vừa là biệt động quân mà vừa là thầy. Khoan chưa.
because at our post we've got a really good service officer. Yeah, well, the thing about go to any of the VA places, that's the state rep. She, red female up there, works for the state of Texas. Not for the VA. That's just. Because she said, none of this stuff, she had none of my representatives. Right. When I need something, I find her. She's an ex-Navy. I walked in there, the second time I walked in, see her, I commanded two Navies, World War II. Where'd you get these? At the gift place. Now there you go. That's the gift place, that's right. Got your sources.
Is yours?
Yes, sir.
And 151? 8182.
I drove the one that 51. I learned I was driving on what's coming. Anyway, I had it this one, I rigged up some things. Good numbers are my border control.
Đi. Tỷ lấy xe rồi thôi, tỷ vòng lại đây hốt vô nha. Vậy đi quay xíu cái nữa.
Vòng lại hả? Xa lắm á.
Không bao giờ xe ở đấy.
Chỉ lên chèo hết thôi. Làm đi luôn, vòng lại hả? Ok. Tại xe bus nó phải chở mình ra đó đó. Ok, vậy chi chút nữa hoành lại ha. Ok anh chị, vậy là mình xong rồi nha. Ok, bây giờ phải ra xe bus họ chở mình ra ngay cái parking xong rồi mình mới đi về được. Phải mọi người ở đây chở cô Như nữa. Okay, bye bye, I love you all. Em cầu nguyện cho những người đã mất chiến tranh Việt Nam cũng như là những người còn sống được. Người mất thì lên thiên đàng, người còn sống thì luôn mạnh khỏe, mọi sự tốt đẹp. Dạ. Bye, I love you all.